ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop. Come on, take me higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Breakfast Bankroll with none other than Mr. Paul Stone himself. Congrats to him and his Longhorns, number one team in the country. Ewers goes down, in comes Manning, Omaha. And they just roll as Georgia escapes a tough Kentucky team to drop to 2. But I know a lot of people I've talked to still, when the dust settles and we get to December and January, they fully expect Georgia to be atop. Not that Texas is going anywhere. And our second half of the show, hopefully, God willing, the debut of Cam Stewart. You can catch Cam Stewart at Cam Stewart Live on Twitter and, of course, on the Sports Grid. I think it's almost every night with Mr. Gabe Morency, 10 p.m. Eastern. So without further ado, let's bring in the true star of this show, the one and only Mr. Paul Stone.
How we doing, Jeff? Good to be with you guys and rolling right along. Week 4 of college football. Got some great football games this weekend, so looking forward to talking about it.
Well, let's tiptoe back last week. We talked about Georgia. We talked how bad Kentucky looked. We got lucky here at ECSI. We had the team total of Kentucky over 10.5. Of course, they lose 13-12. Was it a perfect bounce back spot for Kentucky? Was it Georgia just being Georgia? I mean, you're not going to beat the number one team in the country kicking 4 field goals. We know that. They had their opportunity. Assess what you saw on Saturday between Georgia and Kentucky.
Well, first of all, I mean, I've said all along, and others have it as well, and I've got Georgia now number 2 in my power ratings behind Ohio State and just ahead of Texas still. But Georgia is going to miss naturally Brock Bowers, their tight end now in the NFL. I mean, he's a generational top tight end. And also Ladd McConkey. That guy was a bulldog of a wide receiver, a clutch guy. And they just don't really have the field stretching wide receivers. They just don't really have that many offensive playmakers. They still have Carson Beck, one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. But they're not quite the same team. They're still great. They're still a national championship contender and still one of the best. But with all that said, I mean, in college football sometimes, Jeff, as you know, you just get a result, you get a performance by 2 teams, and you just scratch your head and say, man, where did that come from? I mean, Kentucky against South Carolina, I mean, they just got roasted. And, of course, Lenoris Sellers is a big-time running threat and did some of that stuff with his feet against Kentucky. But, man, they look like one of the worst Kentucky teams that Mark Stoops has had there in Lexington in several years. And then the very next week, they bounce back and hold Georgia to 13 points and almost pull one of the shockers of the last few years. So, to me, it's just one of those. I give every team, it seems like even the eventual national champion, everybody's going to have a mulligan. And I think this was Georgia's wake-up call in mid-September. And they'll tee it up again and probably be more of what we expect. So that's an interesting was an interesting performance. And as of today, one of the games of the year in college football, Texas hosting Georgia on October 19th. I had Georgia as a small favorite. I would now make Texas -2.5 over Georgia there in Austin on the 19th of October.
And I'm going to stay there for a second because we had Tyler Wyatt from Tyler Wyatt Bets on yesterday at 11:30 in the morning, and I had him take a peek at his numbers and his rankings because Alabama trailed 3-0 at Wisconsin, and Mr. Coach DeBoer said, "I hold my beer," and they put up 42, and no problem in Wisconsin there. They played Georgia in that regular season game. We don't have to wait to the SEC title game. Your numbers right now, I would assume you got that one pretty close to a pick 'em as well.
Yeah, let me just take a quick game, and that's going to be next week, isn't it? Yeah, Georgia at Alabama next week. That game right now, I think Georgia in the look-ahead numbers, the game of the year numbers, maybe about a 4-point favorite in the summer. That obviously has been shrunk. I would have to say that it's right around to pick 'em. I'll start doing some work on Friday, tomorrow actually, making some early lines for the following week, week 5. But it's got to be right around pick 'em. I think it's going to be another one of those games. Whoever wins the game is going to get the money. I wouldn't be surprised seeing it pick 'em or -1. One way or the other.
Friday night, I think it was Friday night or Thursday night. I'm losing track of days, Paul. South Alabama hangs, I think it was Friday night, hangs 87. We had the team total over 48.5. They had it at halftime. They stopped the game halfway through the fourth quarter. The mercy rule, kind of. Tennessee, you talked about Kent State and how far they are on the depth chart. Tennessee could have scored 100 if they wanted to. We had a Kent State team total under a half in the first half. It never was threatened potentially for Kent State to score there. Tennessee at halftime reached out to the coach, "Hey, do you want to shorten this game?" He says, no, we want to play this through. Is there a problem now with some of these matchups? I mean, again, they used to go for the checks. I mean, we saw what Northern Illinois did at Notre Dame. But some of these cellar dwellers facing some of these teams that can score at will, are we going to keep seeing this, Paul?
College football is constantly changing, so you can't ever make just a blanket statement with total confidence. But I think we will. I mean, on one hand, the teams that are at the top of the sport, they want a game that they are certain to win. They want a scrimmage that they know is a win because they want to get in that 12-team playoff. They want to satisfy the alumni and say, "Hey, I won 9 games, even if 2 of them were against these schools." So they want to be able to sell themselves. They want to be able to have a sure win. And then on the flip side, as the gulf financially between the haves and the have-nots gets even greater, these schools like Kent State, they need the money, and they typically get paid over $1 million, $1.5 million, whatever the going rate is nowadays to play a mega power like Tennessee. So they have to go in there and just hope they don't, drag out 3 or 4 players in body bags, so to speak, and hope they can get out there alive without any injuries and without the psyche of the team damaged or destroyed. And it's just the cruel reality of the sport. The small guy needs the money to not only fund the football program, but other men's and women's athletic programs. And then the big guy wants the victory.
We talked about Notre Dame week 1 going into A&M, winning this amazing hard-fought battle against the Aggies. Then the shocker of shockers, 28.5-point underdogs to Northern Illinois. And then they face a Purdue team last week, and they look like the national champs. Who is Notre Dame?
I think they're a pretty good football team, even though I think they scored 66 points. Purdue's not very good. I mean, I had Notre Dame -7.5. Purdue just doesn't. They just don't have a whole lot. Hudson Card at quarterback, I guess, is okay, but they might very well be the worst team in the. And I would have said this before last week, in the Big Ten. So it's hard through 3 games. Most of the teams, even the powers like Notre Dame, have played kind of a smorgasbord of teams, maybe one tough opponent and, two not so tough. But the fact that they lost to Northern Illinois certainly demonstrates that they do have some offensive limitations despite last week's outburst against Purdue. So, Riley Leonard, he's been a little bit injury prone. He hadn't been all that great. Their new quarterback from Duke, he hadn't been all that great yet in the passing game. I think a lot of that's on the offensive line, and now their offensive line at Notre Dame has even more injuries if you read about those coming out of the Purdue game. So they are really banged up on the offensive line. I think it's going to be tough. They got to play Louisville, Southern Cal, some others. So I think they're going to have some more blemishes. I don't think they're a playoff team at this point. And you'll see Riley Leonard, though, to try to provide offense as he did against Purdue. He's a great runner, and as long as he's healthy, he's going to be running the football a little bit because they need all the weapons that they can find there. And one way to hide an offensive line, they still have to block a little bit, but the quarterback run is a good way to try to execute offense when you don't have the greatest of offensive lines. So I think they're a top 20 type team, but I don't think they're a playoff team.
I got to bring them up. I just go back to last year, the dream season, the undefeated season, third string quarterback, Florida State. Are they in? Are they out? They're out, which was the right move. Then they just get absolutely lambasted by Georgia. Okay, that's okay. Still a great season. Travel opening day to Dublin. A walk-off by Georgia Tech. In comes Boston College. Florida State, 16.5-point favorites. No problem. We're going to bounce back here. Upset by Boston College, which we'll get to in a minute. Then in comes Memphis. And again, Tyler Wyatt, his numbers were like, this number is so wrong. He actually had that one near at a pick 'em. And Memphis goes in, not only covers, but beats Florida State. Is Coach actually on the hot seat? And is this Florida State like the season's done and over already?
Yeah, I mean, obviously college football fans are very fickle, and it's what have you done for me lately? And they would have, I agree with you totally. They did not deserve to be in the playoff last year. That's part of it is when you have an injured player, how does the team perform without that player? And they were not anywhere near a playoff team after the injury to Jordan Travis. But it's been really downhill for the Seminoles since that injury last year to Jordan Travis. And I think their problems started when they decided to go into the portal and get their quarterback, DJ Uyunglele. I mean, he's kind of been an enigma throughout his career, showed some great signs as a true freshman at Clemson, but he's been up and down and, has shown some deficiencies in the downfield passing game, frankly. And, he looks real good in the airport, but I don't think he's been as productive as you need at a place like Florida State. So, I think that was one thing. And I don't know, you just wonder if there's just been some carryover with the way they responded to being left out of the playoff. I mean, you just Norvell and the administration and Danny Cannell and just everybody just seemed to be whining about it all summer, just never let it go. You just wonder. I know that's kind of a reach, but I just wonder if there's any carryover in that type of response. I know they're disappointed, but, that's the way it goes sometime. And, yeah, I don't think he's in trouble, but you never know. I mean, you never know who pulls the strings and who calls the shots. At some programs, you've got 1, 2, 3 boosters who have a ton of power, and the president, if those people come to him and say this, then he knows he might not be in the right position if he decides to go against their wishes. So you never know how those things work, the dynamics behind the scene. But Norvell's got the program after kind of a rocky start. Last year was very good, and he's been good in the portal. I think this year, as many hits as he had last year in the portal, maybe he has a few misses this year. But going forward, the thing that I'm really going to be looking closely at is where does this team go from here? What is their collective team psyche? They're a 2.5-point favorite at home this Saturday against California in an Atlantic Coast Conference game, which seems odd to say when you're talking about a team from Berkeley. But, that's a tough out. Jaden Cal's running back, who's been out and hobbled by injuries, if he actually plays, which I'm not sure if he will, but if he plays against Florida State, they might have another loss.
Before we get to the games that you're gonna break down this week for everyone watching, please, everyone watching new to this show and channel, go follow Paul on Twitter at Paul Stone Sports, the best in the business in my eyes, at least, and I know a lot of other people as well. Having a hard time wrapping around two games here. BC, I couldn't wrap around the getting 15 against Missouri. My eyes saw a good BC team. My eyes also saw Missouri playing grab ass. I thought the second half they kind of woke up their All-American wide receiver back-to-back 15-yard penalties to stop a drive. Now BC is 6.5. I've seen 7s out there at home Saturday night, 8 p.m., the red bandana game against an undefeated Michigan State team. And of course, my love affair for Nebraska that goes back to the 80s, undefeated and a 10-point favorite against an Illini team, which, again, I'm not disrespecting. I just think both BC and Nebraska numbers seem to be inflated, or are the books starting to come to these two teams and putting them where you think they should be?
Well, I think Nebraska's about right. I mean, Illinois, they did defeat Kansas, but they benefited from 4 Kansas turnovers. I think Jalen Daniels threw 2 interceptions in that game, or threw 3 interceptions in that game. Illinois only gained 271 yards in defeating Kansas. So that's a little bit misleading to me. I'm not real bullish on Illinois. So I'll be on the sideline, but I'm not going to get in front of Nebraska probably in any of these first 7 games. They're pretty good defensively, obviously, and their quarterback seems to be everything that he was advertised to be to this point. So I won't get in the way of the Cornhuskers there. This Michigan State game, I think the line now is pretty much a consensus 7. BC favored by 7 at home over Michigan State. And BC is one of those teams, and it's not the end-all, be-all betting trends, but BC, they're a team that's been really good as a betting underdog in recent years, but not that good as a betting favorite. And if I can look at some of my notes here, since 2017 as a betting underdog, they are 32-19-1 against the spread. So BC 32-19-1 in their last 52 times in the underdog role. But as a favorite, only 6-14 against the spread their last 20 when cast as a favorite. So BC is one of those teams, kind of middling teams, that seems to perform better when they're the underdog than when they're wearing, the target of being the favorite. And this Michigan State team, they have been, Jonathan Smith's a great football coach. He's got a young quarterback in Aiden Childs who followed him over from Oregon State. Aiden Childs was a true freshman last year for the Beavers, played a little bit at Oregon State, but mostly in mop-up duty. So just saying all that to point out, he's still at a very early point in his career, so he's getting better week after week. He's very athletic, got a big-time true freshman receiver in Nick Marsh, who fans will want to watch on Saturday. So I kind of think it's, I'm kind of with you on that game if I'm hearing you right. I think Michigan State plus the points would probably be the way to go. I see this as being a close, competitive game that both teams really want to get for their, first and foremost, probably. First things first, their bowl eligibility possibilities.
Got 4 games on the docket that you would like to break down. First on the docket, Northwestern at Washington.
Yeah, this is going to be the first ever Big Ten game. It's still hard to say for the Washington Huskies, so that certainly will generate some excitement there in the Puget Sound. But I still view Saturday's game against Northwestern for Washington as sort of a tricky scheduling spot. First of all, they're off that disappointing, bitter loss to Apple Cup rival Washington State, a game where they went for it on 4th and goal, to win the game on a run and came up just short in the final seconds. So you have that disappointment. Now you're a double-digit favorite. You're the better team. But on deck, you have road games at Rutgers and Iowa sandwiched around a home game against defending national champion Michigan. So this game on the schedule, I'm not going to say necessarily they're going to excel, but maybe that is the correct term. This might be a point where they don't have all their focus, all their mental acuity totally zoned in on Northwestern. And Northwestern, looking at the Wildcats, they're just a team to me, and they have to be because they don't have the talent of many of their Big Ten brethren. They're a team that gets more out of less. They play solid defense. They're fundamentally sound. And as I've kind of alluded to, they're never going to be the circled game on the schedule of one of their Big Ten opponents. They're a team they're just going to kind of gloss over them. So, I think those factors that I just mentioned is kind of a reason why the Wildcats have really thrived as a road underdog in recent years. 24-13 against the spread as a road underdog since the beginning of the 2014 season. The Purple Cats are just going to fight scratch and claw to keep it close, to keep it competitive, try to win the game. So I like them in this underdog role. And also they have a new quarterback, Jack Lausch, their quarterback who started the season, Michael Wright, a little bit turnover prone. So they went to Lausch last week against Eastern Illinois team that's an FCS program and not a very good one at that. But still, Lausch threw for 227 yards. And what caught my eye is the fact he ran for 62. So he apparently has pretty good feet. And if he's a dual threat guy, Northwestern needs all the offensive threats they can get. And a running quarterback can certainly keep you close, keep you within single digits in these types of games. So I like Northwestern, a lot of 11 out there. I like the Wildcats plus 11 at Husky Stadium against Washington on Saturday.
I do agree with you. We did have early in the year, we snuck in a little Duke team total against that Northwestern, and it was just back and forth, no score. Thank God for overtime and double overtime because we snuck one in the back door there. So I do like where your eyes are on that one. I am looking at Northwestern plus the 11 as well. Another slugfest. Iowa at Minnesota. I mean, 35.5 it opened under over. 36 and a half it opened. Now 35.5 in some shops. Numbers say to me, first 1 to 20 wins this game. It's probably going to be a walk-off. And don't forget, I got burnt on this game last year with the infamous fair catch, they said, on that punt return, which would have given Iowa the win there. So thoughts on Iowa at Minnesota?
First of all, those of our viewers and listeners not well-versed in Big Ten traditions, and you know it, Jeff, there's a trophy that's at stake in almost every Big Ten game you play. And these teams play for the Floyd of Rosedale. And the Floyd of Rosedale's a bronze pig. And I just think anytime you're playing for a bronze pig, the stakes are high. The efforts are going to be great on both sides. So a little bit tongue-in-cheek there. But the Floyd of Rosedale, what a great tradition there. There are a handful of items here that I really think fall in Iowa's corner this week in Minneapolis. First of all, even though I don't know that they're quite to that level, but entering the season, Iowa had aspirations of making the 12-team playoff. They've already lost at home 20-19 to Iowa State. So they can't afford a second loss in September. They're up against the ropes. So I think that's a mark in Iowa's corner here. You mentioned the loss last year to Minnesota, 12-10. Cooper DeJean returns a punt 54 yards for touchdown in the last 90 seconds. They wave it off due to a fair catch signal, which I think it's correct call. I can't remember if I had a bet on it, but he had his hand out to the side, and those guys are running down the field. They see a hand, moving. You can't be making motions like that. But the Hawkeyes don't agree with my perspective on that call. They don't like the call. You probably didn't like the call. Probably don't still like the call. So I think that game last year, losing that certainly plays on their minds. And again, a point spread role here that's been very favorable to Iowa. And they are one of those teams that's just an exceptional road favorite since the beginning of 2012. The Hawkeyes 22-6-1 against the spread as a road favorite. So they're very good on the road. Those types of trends, they're not the meat of my handicap, so to speak, but they do add another layer of support, when you're trying to determine whether you're going to make a play on the team or not. And then lastly, I just view Iowa as a superior team in this game. Minnesota, I think they've improved a little bit since that North Carolina game. But I think Iowa is the better team here. They've dominated this series for most of the past quarter century. They're 18-5 straight up in the last 23 meetings. And before losing last year, they had won 8 straight against Minnesota. I think they're missing that bronze pig. I think they want the Floyd of Rosedale to return to its rightful place in Iowa City, Iowa. I like Iowa -2.5 over Minnesota.
This next game, I'm having a real hard time wrapping myself around it. South Florida plus 17 at Miami, and under over around 65. We know what the U has done so far this year. And again, pre-flop, preseason, I had them losing one game, and I actually thought that one game might have been opening day against Florida. The bigger Miami can be ahead, the less Cristobal can make a mistake late in the game to potentially lose the game. And Miami has had no problems. And we remember 2 weeks ago, South Florida, for 3.5 quarters, was a possession away from potentially upsetting Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Yet they're catching 17 here in an interstate rival. South Florida at Miami, 17.
Yeah, like you, I'm bullish on Miami. I picked Miami to win the ACC, picked them to win the 12-team playoff throughout the summer, and that hasn't changed. I like this Miami team. They've done such a good job in the portal. Everybody's going to talk about Cam Ward, the new quarterback from Washington State, who started his career at Incarnate Word in the state of Texas, an FCS school. And they're going to talk about Damian Martinez, the running back from Oregon State. But I think it's those interior lines. They've really fortified both lines through the portal and nationally through development of players recruited directly into the program. So you look at a team and you say, man, do they have any weaknesses? And Miami just doesn't have any weaknesses that jump out at you. So I like the Miami Hurricanes. But South Florida is much improved. And you mentioned it a couple weeks ago against Alabama. They showed what they can be at their best. This game sets up nicely, I think, for the Bulls. Definitely means more to the Bulls, having the opportunity to play Miami. You got to believe that a lot of those players are from the state of Florida. And, they'd have probably liked a shot to play for the Canes. Everybody in South Florida, or many players, dream of that. And they probably are not there because they probably didn't get offered to play there. So you're going to be a little hungrier. You're going to put your best foot forward. Miami also has their ACC opener on deck next Friday, a home game against Virginia Tech. And again, this game means everything to South Florida. So I like that element of it. Might not sound like much, but they're opening the upper deck this week of Raymond James Stadium there in Tampa to accommodate the student ticket demand. Normally the upper deck's not open. This is not a big time football school that sells stadiums out 75,000 each week, but there's going to be better attendance this week because of the opponent. They'll have a true home field advantage. Talking about that Alabama game again, they trailed 14-13 entering the fourth quarter, only trailed by 5 points with 6 minutes to go when an avalanche of Alabama touchdowns late led to a very, very misleading 42-16 final. And I love dual threat quarterbacks. And Byron Brown, man, that's a big time dual threat quarterback. He ran for 809 yards last year. He's already rushed for 254 yards this year through 3 games. And a dual threat quarterback, when those guys are coming and pinning their ears back from, the pass rush or whatever the case might be, that forward penetration, when you have a quarterback that can go straight up the field, that can get you some offense. You can negate a little bit of a physical disadvantage perhaps in blocking those defensive linemen when you have a quarterback who can tuck it and run. So all in all, I just like South Florida. I actually made this line 14. I thought 14 was a real good number. It's 17, a little bit of a bonus. So I like South Florida plus 17. Keep it within a couple of touchdowns against the U.
Last game, this is my game of the year so far this year, which again, next week we'll have another game of the year. But I've reached out to a lot of colleagues in the summer, and I said to myself, hey, first one to 35 or 37 wins this game. And what I've noticed, Tennessee can score with the best of them. I get that. Oklahoma's no Kent State. It's in Norman. But a number that opened at 60, now down to 57, and both defenses have been playing great. I actually see around a 57.5 right now. Again, we're talking about inflated lines this summer. I probably had a pick'em Tennessee -1, maybe Oklahoma -1, Tennessee -7. And again, we've talked inflated lines. I love the Vols. I do. But it's almost to me that the books are saying, hey, guys, we're doing everything we can to get some Sooner money here. There you go. Grab your 7 and have some fun there.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the game of the year lines on this game back in the summer, I know at least some properties, Oklahoma -4, -4.5. So we've seen about an 11-point or so adjustment. And this is just a true case, having done this for many years. And sometimes you whiff, and I might whiff on this one, but buy low and sell high. In Oklahoma, we're able to buy low here, getting 7 points. I wasn't able to go back much further. But this is only the second time since 2001 that Oklahoma's been a home underdog, and they know they're a home underdog. They're playing their first ever SEC game at home against this Tennessee team. You look at Tennessee, first of all, and I'll acknowledge, I mean, to me, they've looked like a top 5 team on both sides of the ball through the first 3 weeks of the season. But who have they played? They've played 2 tap-ins, so to speak, and then an NC State team at a neutral site there in Charlotte, an NC State team that might not quite be who we thought they were at the end of the year. Then you look on the flip side, Oklahoma's been slow to start without question, most notably on offense, where former 5-star quarterback Jackson Arnold has not really looked like a 5-star. He has yet to pass for 200 yards in a game through 3 games this season. So he has yet to find his footing. He did rush for 97 yards this past week versus Tulane. So that's a real positive there. But again, Tennessee's success, Chattanooga, Kent State, I don't really give much credence to those games. Very impressive, though, against NC State. They're going to be playing Tennessee, their first true road game of the season. Their quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, he has not started a single road game in his career. That's not going to be earth-shattering, perhaps, but it's a little bit different when you're not in the friendly confines. And now people are making racket, and you see, especially with the communication devices that they're using now, that they can hear their offensive coordinator. I think it's going to be difficult for them to communicate. I think they're going to make it very very difficult for them to get the plays in, and he's going to be a little bit confused, and that leads to illegal procedure penalties that we see so often in college football when there's a lot of noise. So it's different playing in Norman, Oklahoma than it is in Knoxville, Tennessee. So funny things can happen on the road. Plus, Oklahoma reportedly going to be getting at least a few players back who have been sidelined due to injury. One of those, their field-stretching wide receiver, Nick Anderson, who averaged over 20 yards a catch last year, a guy who can go vertical. And they're also hopeful of getting center Branson Hickman. He's a transfer actually from SMU, was second team All-American Athletic Conference last year for the Mustangs. So if he could come back at center, that would really solidify that offensive line. So you just, again, it's just a buy low. Oklahoma, most people, you look at it with your naked eye and people just think Tennessee's going to go in there and just, take names and just run them out of the stadium. But this is college football and funny things happen. So give me the Sooners +7 to keep it close against the Volunteers.
Paul, tell everyone where they can find your work, obviously on Twitter at Paul Stone Sports, but where they can find their website. And if they want your information daily sent to them, or weekendly, I should say, where can they find it?
Yeah, first of all, if you are on X, formerly known as Twitter, my Twitter handle or X handle is at Paul Stone Sports, as you mentioned. And also, if they want to take it a step further, my website, paulstonesports.org. I love college football. It's my passion. Spend every waking hour of the day this time of year thinking, studying college football. So love to do it just like you do, and great to be visiting with you. And I hope everybody has a great week 4 of college football spectating and wagering.
Paul, we can't thank you enough. Best of luck this weekend. We will catch you same time, same bat channel next Thursday. How's that?
Good deal. Good being on with you, Jeff, and good luck to you guys.
You too. The one and only Paul Stone. No, a quick commercial break, and then the man, the myth, the legend, Cam Stewart. We'll be right back.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, take me higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. I have to be honest here. I am a big SportsGrid fan. I go on when I'm called upon. Spoke to Mr. Greg Sussman actually yesterday. We had a great conversation. Was on last night with Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan for 2 spots. In the middle of the summer, when the dog days of summer, when it's baseball, we'll throw in some CFL. We have some live golf and some PGA, of course. We're towing the rope. We're trying to get you to football. And every night, 10 o'clock Eastern, Gabe Morency, Cam Stewart are on. As I'm trying to decompress from a 15, 16-hour day, I put them on, and good friend and colleague Andrew McGinnis comes on every Tuesday. And this past summer, I got a call on Sunday, hey, can you come on for a couple spots? And it was Brady Kannon, who does a show here every Wednesday at 11 a.m., and I was blessed and honored to be on with Cam. And I am not exaggerating. We did 2 spots, and I literally pissed my pants. I was just laughing so hard, and I'm still smiling. So I said, hey, what the hell? So I reached out to Cam and said, hey, Cam, I'd be blessed and honored to have you here as a part of our show. And God behold, here he is, the one and only Mr. Cam Stewart.
I got to tell you, that's the nicest intro I've ever had in my life. I'm just looking at the background of the TD Garden going, how many broken Leafs hearts and wallets and paychecks have I given in that building? Unbelievable stuff. I forget you're from Boston, a city that kills me. I should have been a Bostonian. I got the red hair, red face, whatever. It's like this city just eats the Leafs up. It doesn't matter. Every Toronto team gets screwed by Boston. Jeff, it's a pleasure. You're a great guy. And thanks for having me on the program. I'm sweating out some BMW championship golf right now. I got Horschel in a matchup bet up 1 right now. And I won with Rye because Fitzpatrick is struggling at +2. So hopefully we can go 2-0 on the links. And a pleasure to see you. I really liked your last guest. And that meat commercial was amazing too. What is this, Atlanta Steak and Seafood? There's
yes,
in
it
Canada.
is.
Sign me up. I just saw those lobster tails and I started to drool. I'm a real seafood guy. I love all that. That's one thing about Boston. The food there, the seafood is out of control. It is so damn good. I wish I had that kind of seafood here.
I live on Cape Cod, Mass. I am when you look at the picture, we're on that island here. I'm about 45, 50 minutes from Boston. So when you come across the border and you tiptoe into Boston, just give me a holler.
I will.
We'll meet you up on Cape Cod. We'll take you out for some lobster rolls, some clams, and you'll have a day.
Ooh, sounds amazing, Jeff. I got to tell you, that Seahawks New England game, I was going to go to that game, but I take care of my father. So that would have been cool. If they're ever back in town or the Leafs Bruins, I'll come for a weekend and a hockey game. That'd be amazing.
Well, but I've been doing shows with Andrew for years now. We talk NHL, CFL, whatever's going on. And I'm the guy every year, not me. I have a Toronto to not only get to the cup but win the cup, and I have
Don't do it,
Toronto,
Jeff.
to win.
No, just give it to the guy outside the liquor store. It's never going to win. I do the same thing. I'm like, what am I using this? As one-ply toilet paper? It's not even half a ply. It sucks. I take the Leafs every year too, and I sit there going, wow, I really thought they could do it this year. Like, and last year, Wall gets hurt, their goalie, actually Boston College. It's another tie-in there. And we had to play Samsonov luggage, and he actually played well. He's not a very good goalie, but he usually reeks. But same old story, Jeff. Can't beat Boston, can't beat Tampa Bay. It's the Leafs. But I like Berube this year. Actually, I think they're kind of under the radar because people are so sick of betting on them. A lot of people are getting off them. So I would not be shocked if they actually reach the conference final. I know a lot of people are high on the Devils this year, as am I, but never count out the Boston Bruins. You guys got to get that deal done with Swayman. He's one of the best in the league, and that's the whole thing about Boston, why they're so great. They're just ran well. Cam Neely's a great GM, and they're just their hockey brains. Every time you think they're taking a step back, they don't. They actually just linger. They're just a very good organization.
Well, and it's funny because that Boston Bruins has been in the top 5 to 8 pre-flop, 8-1, 9-1, 11-1. A couple years ago, wins the President's Cup. Thanks for playing. One and done. Again, we had the flip-flop with Allmark and Swayman. They send Allmark out across the pond. Ottawa, yeah. They sent him out there. Now Swayman's sitting there like, man, I'm in the catbird seat. Now a goalie that's accustomed to playing 40, 42, every other game, the big hugs afterward. Now he's got to be the man. He wants 10. The Bruins wanted to give him 6.5. They're going to meet in middle. I'm hearing 8.5 for 8. The Bruins have no leg to stand on. They got to get this deal done, Cam.
You're absolutely right, Jeff. And the thing about Swayman is you brought up a great point. More rubber is better for him. He's one of those goalies that he actually thrives when he gets a lot of shots. Some guys can do it. They can stay cold, and that's not Swayman's style. If you shoot 55 pucks on him, he's probably only going to let a couple in. He gets hot when he sees rubber, and he's a great goaltender who's got better all the time. It's amazing to me how the Bruins always find diamonds in the rough in the net. Like, you guys stole Tuukka Rask from us too. Like, what kind of moron deal was that for Justin Pogge? I'm like, what are the Leafs doing? Like, I could have done that deal drunk in a ditch and like, hey, we have another deal where the fax machine breaks. These guys are such stooges. But anyway, Boston always seems to find that goaltender, and it's amazing how the Bruins. You're right though. They fall a little bit short. Like, that year, you could have beat the St. Louis Blues. They won the Stanley Cup final there. Like, great team, but I know a lot of people in Boston are like, when are you guys going to finish the deal? And let's call it out for what it is, Jeff. I played hockey. Morency played hockey on our show. It's very, very difficult. It's the hardest sport to win. You get killed out there. And the grind of an NHL season into the playoffs, I don't even know how these guys do it, playing with broken bones and stuff. They're a different breed, hockey players.
I go out to the West, and I mean, how... if you don't have some kind of Edmonton ticket pre-flop, I mean, they're just Connor McDavid. The list is endless. The goaltending, I said all along before Allmark got shipped to Ottawa, why don't you, call up Edmonton, see if they wanted Allmark there. I was heavy on the Stars mid-season there. I thought they had a chance for a run. Vegas already having issues. I heard you and Gabe, I want to say 6-7 weeks ago, talking hockey. I'm buying what Gabe's buying. The Vancouver Canucks. Are you in or out?
Yeah, I'm actually in on the Canucks. I like the addition. Actually, it's funny. You pick up another Boston Bruin, DeBrusk. He's the perfect type of person for Vancouver. He scores dirty, greasy goals, which I love, and he'll go to the dirty areas. Vancouver has a lot of European players that are awesome, talented, but they won't pay the price in front of the net. DeBrusk is a guy that I love. I love that game, like the old Dave Andrechuk, just hang out, score goals, bank it off legs, do anything you need to do to put the damn puck in the net. And I think that's good for Vancouver. I'm with you, Jeff. I think Edmonton's the best team, and they're just so close. And Skinner played pretty well. After being bad, he shook it off. But Nashville is a team that me and Gabe talked about too. Picking up Marchessault from Vegas. They already got a great goaltender in UC Saros. Roman Josi on the back end. They're already, and the thing about Nashville is they have a bunch of young, very talented defensemen. The books aren't stupid, though. We thought we were going to get a better number with Nashville. I'm seeing like 16, 18. I was hoping for like a 25, but that doesn't exist. Like, you had to jump on that early. Guys in the know, like, they know the Nashville Predators. I have them going into the Final Four and meeting Edmonton in the Conference Championship, and I have Vancouver losing in the earlier round. So, yeah, I got Toronto, New Jersey in the East, and I got Edmonton and Nashville in the West.
Well, I love where your eyes are. We'll have Andrew on Tuesday
I love
morning.
Andrew. Give Andrew credit, too. He did it in his CFL bets because, Gabe's a BC guy. He's like, hey, Lions, McInnes Lions. He's like, no, I'm going to take the Argos. And, Gabe's like, what are you talking? And he's shaking him down on the show. And I'm like, well, McInnes, you got stones. And he did. And the Argos went into BC and won outright. So, big CFL game between Toronto and Hamilton down the line. Talk to McInnes. A lot of points with the Argos laying 7 in that game. And Hamilton's beat them twice. So, I'm kind of looking maybe at the over in that football game. Every time Toronto and Hamilton get together, it's a lot of fireworks, Jeff, a lot of points. Not much defense when these guys get together.
I'll be with Andrew on his channel at McGinnis Picks tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock your time in Canada. And when we started the CFL shows with him 3 years ago, I adopted the Elks as my team.
Yes, I'm an Elks guy too. I like that team a lot.
And I sat through the 23 in a row at home. I sat there, and then this year they're over. Pre-flop was 6.5. I said, well, Vegas knows something. Give me the over. Started so slow, awful again. Picked up speed, picked up momentum, scoring at will. What do you think of the Elks this week at home as a dog?
It's gonna. You know what though, Jeff? This is tough because Winnipeg are a lot like your Bruins. Oh, Winnipeg, they're getting old. They're like the CFL's bully. Like, you know what I mean? They just sit around and go, oh, okay, we don't mind an 0-3 start. Like, people are like writing them off. But no, Zach Collaros, the former Cincinnati Bearcat, he's old, but he knows how to get it done. They got the Polish drywall team at receivers, Demski and Wolotarski. They'll come over to your house. Free bets, free drywall. Love these guys. Pierogi time. Hey, Winnipeg, too, the home of pierogies in Canada. If you're ever in Winnipeg, best pierogies ever. If you love pierogies, big, huge Polish population. I like Winnipeg this week, Jeff, and I'm an Elks guy, too. I love the Elks. Me and Gabe talk about it. Gabe has the scout on his show. You know what I mean? He's one of the guys on his show regularly, so inside information on the Elks, and they've really turned it around. Got to give Bethel Thompson a lot of credit, their quarterback. He was horrible early. They put in Ford, the Canadian kid. He got hurt, and now Bethel Thompson came back and played well. I think Ford is back this week, so that could be good news. Very mobile quarterback, and he can slice and dice. But Winnipeg's one of those teams, as the season progresses, Jeff, like a real thoroughbred, they know what games are big, and they're always there in big games. So don't never count out the Bombers. They're just one of these teams that they linger. They never go away.
And I talked to Andrew on Tuesday, and again, it's that time of year where they like hold my beer and they start to round in that playoff form, and they're a team that you don't want to play.
Exactly. They're very tough. Mike O'Shea, their head coach, he was a tough guy when he played. Hamilton Tiger Cats, Argos, he's an animal. Actually, me and Gabe have had him on the shows many times. Very friendly guy, but he's just a guy that the players play for, too, because he was a player in the league, and he gets it. And he has that CFL mind. You got to be a little bit different in the CFL. It's a different game, right? So sometimes, Jeff, you'll take a safety in bad conditions, like just to get, like, you know what I mean? Like people are like, what the hell? You do that in the NFL? You're like, what are you nuts? No, in the CFL, like if the winds are blowing, the field position, it's a huge field. So sometimes you'll give 2 to the other team, and a missed field goal is a rouge for everybody out there. Like, what the hell's rouge? You want my girlfriend's wearing too much rouge? No, a missed kick through the end zone, 1 point. In the CFL, if you don't bring it back, you get, you know what I love about Canada, Jeff? Award for failure. You miss the kick, you get a point. Anyway, the kickers in the CFL, we talk about NFL kickers too. What a year these guys are having. The same thing in the CFL. Like, these guys are nutting kicks from 55. I'm like, it's the year of the kicker in both leagues. I can't believe it, watching that Houston, Texas game, like Fairbairn just like crushing, like it's almost like a driver off the deck, just low right in there, 56. Aubrey, the kicker for Dallas. Oh my God, these guys are good. Like, I remember, guys, I'd shake it like 45 plus, you're worried. Now I'm like 55. We can do this easy. No problem.
Aubrey hits a 66-yarder, and they call him for a delay of game, and they were lining up for a 71, and McCarthy's all giddy. I got Aubrey on my fantasy team. I'm like, line him up. 12 days left in baseball. Futures, thoughts on the who's in, who's out, Paul Skeens. I did in late August grab some Tigers and Mets to make the playoffs.
Great.
And I think the Mets are going to be in. I know they play Atlanta 3 times. Tigers within a game right now. Thoughts on the last 12 days in MLB, Cam?
It's amazing what the Tigers are doing, Jeff. Like, and I kind of cheer for, like, the Royals are my secondary team after the Jays. I've always liked that team. When I was a kid with George Brett, he was like my favorite player. I'm going to tell you what the Tigers are doing is special. They're getting timely hitting. Also, guys like Casey Mize, all these young pitchers they have really stepped up. Guys that used to have like 5 and 6 ERAs. Skubal shut down Kansas City yesterday. The Royals are starting to feel the Tigers breathing down their necks. Love your picks. I think the Tigers make the playoffs as well. I think there's enough racetrack left. And I think the Mets are going to get there too. I love your picks. Also, Milwaukee, a team that I had the Reds to win the season. Like, we can't lie on the show. It was a horrible bet. But Milwaukee has won the division 3 out of 4 years, and I think they can take out Arizona in the first round. There's a problem with the Snakes right now. I just watching their games, something's not right there. Maybe Milwaukee will get around, but for futures, I know Gabe was talking Houston at 10. I'm not sure if the Astros are going to do that, but man, I got to think about this one, Jeff. I'd love to take it. The Tigers can't win, but I'm an underdog guy. I'm an underdog. I'd love to see the Royals and Tigers do well. I know Morency's a Dodgers guy. I'm the opposite. I like the crappier the team, the biggest loser out there. That's my guy. Those are the guys I'm cheering for. I always have a soft spot in my heart for those organizations that haven't done anything, and it'd be great for Detroit to make a run. It'd be fantastic, actually.
I saw some breakdowns of potential matchups, and I agree 100% with you. I think the Orioles right now are leaking oil, and I think the matchup Kansas City and Baltimore, I have actually Kansas City advancing in that if they do match up there. You know, what happened last year? Diamondbacks, Rangers win it all. Sharapan's got the exactor at Circa worth $1 bazillion.
Gotta love Dave Sharapan, right? I don't even know what he's doing half the time. I'm going, are you wearing Pirates gear to jinx them, or are you on them tonight? We got to keep I don't even know what he's doing anymore. He's like Carrot Top. He's got a different outfit for each segment. And I'm like, okay, Dave. Hey, Dave should be proud of his kids. His daughters are playing NCAA softball. He's a great dad. Survived a stroke, and very inspirational guy. You know, if you've had health problems before, Dave Sharapan's the guy on SportsGrid, but he knows baseball, and I'm kind of with you. I agree with what you're saying here. Baltimore's got problems, and you know what? Never count out the Yankees, Jeff. It's one of those things. I thought Baltimore was going to take that division. Just watching them go into Seattle, you saw the pitching. They shut down the Mariners, and they also tore the cover off the ball the night earlier with the 10 runs. So this team, if they get any type of pitching, good luck. I think the Yankees are going to go deep, actually.
You know, and we're searching for that diamond in the rough. We want that underdog. We love the story. And I don't know. I said it last night. Who the hell are the Dodgers going to have pitch? Oral Hershiser's not stepping on that mound. Fernando Valenzuela.
Yes.
Stone's not coming back.
Nope.
Glasnow's not coming back. Bueller is long
now.
lost. They got Shohei working out, hoping to get a few innings out of him. But would you be shocked when the dust settles in the last week of October, we're staring at a Yankees-Dodgers?
I actually think the Dodgers might lose. If you gave me something, I would actually take the Yankees to go farther than the Dodgers. I know the Dodgers bats are there, but they're vulnerable. I think the Mets can beat them. Hell, I think San Diego can compete with. You said it. The pitching's a major issue right now. You can't outslug everybody all the time. And what do you need in a short series? Pitching. Arizona beat them last year. It's one of those things. I get it. You guys got the best bats. You got Ohtani, but baseball's like hockey. Underdogs can win. An 8 can beat a 1. A dog can beat a favorite. It's not like football. Usually water finds its level. The Chiefs will be there. We always know the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be there like they are every year. Drives me nuts. God, that team just drives me nuts. Even the way it was pass interference last week, but I'm like, come on. Just driving me nuts, Jeff. But yeah, I think the Yankees are going to go deep, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers lost. Jeff, am I crazy? I got to get going to my other show, but I love Tennessee this week in the NFL. Am I stupid, or I love them this week? Am I nuts?
No, I think your eyes are spot on there. I really do. I do. Listen, we dealt with 2 weeks of carnage here. At some point, the public's got to win a few games because they'll be out of bullets, Cam.
Yeah. I'm with you. And without Will Levis and the mistakes as a 2-0 football team, they got actually one of the best secondaries in the league. I just think people are like, oh, Malik Willis against his old team. You don't think they know him? I think this is a great spot, and the line's gone down. I'm crazy, but Tennessee's one of my favorite plays this week. I'm going to smash that game, and I know me and Gabe had a disagreement on that game on our show, but I'm big on the Titans this week, and I hope they get it done. It's one of my big plays.
I know you got to go, but before you go, thoughts on tonight's game? You got a side, got a total, got a prop on the Patriots at the Jets?
I've switched, Jeff. I kind of like the Jets now. I like New England earlier on. Too much public money, I think, is coming in on New England. I'm actually going to take a Jets teaser to the over. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually hit points in this game, more so the Jets scoring them. You know these games, it's kind of like opposite worlds, right? When a game you're like, oh, track meet, and then it goes under. This game's like, oh my God, this is going to be horrible with New England and the Jets. Maybe some turnovers. New England, just that offense against that defense. I got to take the Jets. I've changed. When this line first came out, Jeff, I did a video and I like New England. That's what I do. I flip flop. I look at where money's going and stuff. And sorry, Jeff. Like that's the thing. I do these shows on Monday. How many picks I changed from Monday to Sunday morning? Like 5 or 6. Like, what do you want me to do? I can't lock in an NFL game with a week to think about it. Like the hamster's on the wheel. He's spinning. Betting on Carolina has made me spun. Like, I got to stop betting that team, Jeff. But you know they're going to cover this week, right? With the Red Rocket in there. For all the gingers out there, Andy Dalton getting it done, covering 5.5. So, yeah. Oh, God, I can't even say this. I think I'm betting the Panthers again, Jeff. But honestly, if they don't cover this week, like, there has to be a button on the computer with, like, a cat with an X. I got an addiction. Like, people have, like, an alcohol drug. I can't stop betting the Panthers. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just, like, donating money. I should just give it to charity. I'm such an idiot. But Tennessee's my play.
Cam, tell them your SportsGrid schedule. Tell them where they can find you on X and all your work.
Thanks for having me on, Jeff. We'll do this again. We can go through like some more games. I know I got into hockey too much, but I'm on tonight. Gabe Morency, he's on at 10 o'clock. We're on, 8 o'clock tonight. It's a special Thursday night edition. Monday night football, Thursday night football, Patriots and Jets, 8 till midnight tonight on SportsGrid. On Saturday, noon till 3 Easterns with the mayor of Miami, Joe Ranieri. You know him too, Jeff. Great guy. We do college in-game live. And let me tell you, the in-game bets are better than the openers. We have a lot of fun. We've been taking some teams that were down double digits coming back to win. So it's a lot of fun if you like live wagering. And just catch out all the shows on SportsGrid. My boy Morency's on 24/7, 365. And it's been a pleasure, Jeff. I know you're a big part of the network too. You come on as a guest, and we love having you. And I'll come on the show when I can, buddy. It's been a slice. Busy guys. This is our busy season when hockey starts. Oh my God, I got to look after my dad too. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, Jeff. I'm going to have to win some money and hire somebody. Love you, bro. That seafood commercial too, man. Let's hit it up. Put the bib on.
Cam, we can't thank you enough. Go, you're so busy, and we just blessed and honored to have you. You made your debut. You're welcome here, 24/7, 365.
Thanks,
know
Jeff.
that.
You know, Cam Stewart played for the Boston Bruins too. My boy.
Yes,
Cam Stewart, little Cam Stewart from Providence? Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I know him. Like, he lives in my uncle's like community. It's funny. I'll tell you a story next time I come on the show. You're gonna like this your pants. It's ridiculous, actually. But have a good one. And Jeff, may the winners be yours this week. I hope you hit a lot of winners, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Cam, you take care.
Have a good one, man.
You too. Cam Stewart at Cam Stewart. Go follow him on SportsGrid. He is worth the price of admission. Noah, one quick commercial, and we'll do a quick wrap up. Shout out to Paul Stone, the best in the business when it comes to college football. I'm hoping to bring him back for college basketball there. Cam Stewart, I told you he's worth the price of entertainment. I will not stop smiling all day. 5 p.m., Ron at Ron A Sports, Ron Marmoleski will be talking college and NFL. Shout out to Russell Saylor. Shout out to Marty Lowe. Shout out to Noah Frank, the best in the business at Noah Frank. If you're looking to add a little oomph to your business, go to Twitter at Noah Frank. I promise you'll take good care of you. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Let's cash some tickets. We'll see you at 5 p.m. Eastern.